Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler's WPblab episode number 110. And this is our quickie series where Bridget and I find that we're busy on a Thursday. This time it's my fault and not hers. And yeah, we had to come up with something. So we're gonna be talking about something that's actually pretty dang interesting, which is syndicated content versus original content. I was gonna say let's go around the room real quick and get everyone introduced. Totally different show that's happening like 2 days from now. Bridget,
all two people of us.
Right. What's up, Bridget? Tell everybody about yourself.
Hey, my name is Bridget Willard. I'm a marketing consultant. I take on clients for branding advice, strategy, and also social media management. You can find out more about me at bridgetwillard.com. And next week, I'll be speaking on having empathy for developers at WordCamp Nijmegen in the Netherlands.
What? You couldn't just like go down the street to one of the ones that we have around here. You had to go fly over to a whole different continent.
No, because I was an organizer, so I wasn't allowed to speak in Orange County.
So lame. It almost makes me want to not be an organizer.
Me too.
I swear, Steve, we'll continue to help you out. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog, and I do a whole bunch of fun stuff over there. I'm also an IT director at a church. I take care of all their fun things and all their needs. And let's see here. And I do another show on this called WPwatercooler. It's the name of the network. You can go over to WPwatercooler.com to figure out some information about that. If you want to subscribe to any of this stuff, and you just don't want to look at our faces, or maybe you're the type of person that likes to listen to podcasts while you're driving, we're also a podcast. We're not just a YouTube channel. So you can go do that at WPwatercooler.com/subscribe, where you can learn how to subscribe from the 3 major shows that are on our network. That's about it. All right, let's talk about, we only got like 30 minutes. It's going to be interesting. Let's talk about syndicated versus original content, Bridget. So you brought this up, and you were kind of you crafted it in a very specific way, and me being the techie person that I am, I'm thinking, how do you take this content and send it out using this software and this type of thing and this and that? And you're like, I don't care how it gets there. Here's what happened: the thing got there, and now we have to deal with it. And not only did the thing get there, but the thing got to all these different places that this one piece of content gets sent to. So let's start at the ground floor, Bridget. You were saying that when this content gets sent out, and by the way, we're not lawyers or SEO experts. We don't do either one of those things. But we're going to pretend that we're SEO experts for half a second. Our understanding is if this content gets sent out, that what happens?
Okay, so according to Jen Miller of needsomeoneToblog.com, who is an SEO expert.
How's that bus, Bridget?
The first one that gets indexed, the first one that published and gets indexed by Google is the one that gets credit for that content, because essentially, as far as Google's concerned, it's duplicate content. So let's back up a little context. So there are web services and marketing services who specialize in a niche, say real estate, and they build a site for their clients, and then they offer to publish on their blog once a week or whatever. And this content is essentially syndicated because they write content that they put on every single one of their clients' sites. So essentially, I inherited a client who has one of these services, and we are not ranking for things. It's super frustrating to me. They promise inbound leads, right? So inbound leads are coming when people are typing and trying to find out about you. For example, if you're trying to find out the coolest place to do yoga in Vancouver, for example, you will find several articles, but you're going to the first one is going to be from one travel agency because that was the first one that published. So that is the first one that gets the credit. If you're lucky enough and Google shows you the duplicates, for me on this one particular article, for the travel agency that I work for, there were 39 before any other content got shown.
Wow.
So essentially, the clients are being diluted and drowned out by each other because this content is all out there exactly the same. as opposed to hiring somebody like Jen Miller, who specializes in the real estate industry and writes custom content. That means you pay somebody to write content specifically for you, not a Mad Lib, not even a Mad Lib where certain things are changed, but the content is completely different. Because as my friend Robert Nissenbaum said on this post, I totally ranted about this on Facebook. The whole point of putting content on your site is to establish your authority. So if I'm saying, okay, we do this on social media, right? So there's a difference between syndication and curation. So on social media, I'll say, oh, this is an article from Jason Tucker. I trust Jason Tucker, therefore I'm sharing this. This is an article from Carl Alexander, therefore I will share it, right? So I'm curating that content and giving that person authority. It goes back to their site, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not putting that content on my site, even if it says it's permission from carlalexander.ca, right? Even if I had it, the person that gets the credit is the first person. So if I'm trying to get found as a WordPress developer by even getting permission from my friends and putting their articles, like nobody I know is doing this. But like on Twitter, it's different because you're sharing the link, right? But when it's on your website, which the purpose of a website is marketing, right? We're talking to all of our engineer friends who like to just build things. But the reason why you're building this is to bring people. So that when they type in a travel agent near me, things to do in Vancouver, BC, things to do in Belgrade, Serbia, whatever like that, the best hotel in Athens, Greece, you want that to show up. So if most businesses have a niche. And so it was funny because this company that syndicates is from Canada, right? So we cannot go to Cuba, or they keep changing the rules, but we can't if there's a humanitarian bent. Canadians could go to Cuba all day long, right? So they're putting articles and sending them out in the email newsletter about Cuba. We're in Mission Viejo, California, United States. We're not able to serve any of our clients going to Cuba. Okay, so like what you're doing is you might be even allowing content to come. This is why I'm against automation with RSS feeds on social, because what if I'm super big fan of Chris Lemma, for example, just pick on him because everybody knows who he is. And what if like most of the stuff I agree with, like 80%, okay? But then he starts saying, oh, you should just automate your social media. What if I tweeted that out? What would everybody say? What the heck? Bridget hates automation. So what is going on, right? It's not you. Now you have a cognitive dissonance, So there's branding implications, SEO implications, and frankly, the integrity of the web company that's selling the snake oil, that on the basis that it's going to bring in leads, right? So as web developers and marketers, it's our job to provide original content. That's why I think that's why it's good. And that's why I go to developer meetings. And that's why I encourage writers to be at WordPress meetups, because we need you to build the websites. You need us to write the words, right? So partnering up so we can make content that's original is what's going to make that website perform well and have the client continuously come back. So there's business ramifications for us as marketers and web developers. There's SEO implications for the client, authority and branding issues. And really, it seems to me, I'll say something kind of controversial, it seems to me that the only person that wins is that agency who's basically making, selling the same. You can have any car you want as long as it's black.
Yeah, and that's typically because the fact that all the links that are on there are going to go to because they control the content, so they get to pick wherever this content's going to go. So they are, most of these places that I've been looking at now, especially since Bridget's brought it up, while she's talking, I'm sitting here digging around looking at this stuff. There's places that they're using AWS to host the images, so now they can get analytical data out of each time one of those images gets loaded. They have links that are on the bottoms of the posts that say, hey, this was provided by blah, blah, blah company. There's also ways where I've been seeing how they're trying to spin the content a little bit. So they'll take like a couple paragraphs out of the top, a couple paragraphs out of the bottom, and they'll rephrase the text. They'll use something like Summizer or one of those types of things to kind of squish down the content and make it look a little different. Google may or may not be smart about this. I don't know. But what I will say is that taking really great content that you've written and then try to spin it a few times is not the way to go. I mean, at that point, you might as well just rewrite the whole content all over again and give it a totally different spin on things. Like if you're going to talk about Vancouver, you can go talk about some other place and really talk about that place and really get in there. But don't Mad Libs it. Don't Mad Libs it. That's going to look dumb, and people are going to look at it and say, well, only 5% of the content on this page changed. That's lame.
And maybe it worked before, but Google's getting smarter as far as voice search and everything like that. So the real goal lately that I've noticed is that trend to be in the 0 result in the answer box. So
yeah,
but if you ask what is the best place to do yoga in Vancouver, then Google really wants a sense to say the best place to do yoga in Vancouver is Canuck Studio located at blah, 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 blah. And they'll take that from any part of your blog post, right? So like one of the things we did at Give, and I continue to do this for myself even, and with my clients, is try to search something, a way a client would. And then when you scroll down a little bit, it'll say people also ask. So if you say, like we would talk about payment gateway, right? So people don't know what a payment gateway is. They know you accept credit cards. We are developers. We marketers know what a payment gateway is. But consumers know a merchant account and they know accept credit cards online.
Yeah.
So you're taking the jargon and Google is helping you. They're saying this is what people also ask. They're telling you what your headline should be or what your H2 tag and answer should be within that blog post. Unfortunately, with this particular website design, I can't edit any of those articles to make them more customized. So instead, for this project, I am just writing original content and putting it on our site because I'm trying to be less diluted by having, more, diverse content using those kinds of tips. I know that when I put it on Facebook, John Locke from Lockdown Design, who's also an SEO, says this. He says, syndicated content is the opposite of original authoritative insights. It gets that people are heads down. I get that people are heads down, but find another way to post original stuff if writing is not your thing. Most people in business have years of knowledge, more comfortable talking about stuff face to face. Record your thoughts on a video and then transcribe it. That gets you close to having an original blog post. Google rewards those who have original thoughts. Google rewards those who have original thoughts. So a syndication is not original.
Right. Now, quoting somebody, totally different.
Totally different.
Yep.
Totally different. I do that. Like when I wrote about what a single supplement is, I went and researched it. First of all, I did, what is a single supplement? I quoted the New York Times. I quoted a travel blog for women-only travelers. I quoted Wikipedia. But the majority of the blog post was me. Yeah. It's good to link out. It's good to link internally. I would trust Yoast with their and Moz.com with their tutorials on SEO, because now I'm just like giving you my own paraphrase version. That's who I trust. I trust Jen Miller, Moz, Yoast SEO, and Locked and John Locke. Those are my SEO people. Pam Ungst. But I really like Yoast and Moz are the best resources for me. So a lot of times people are saying, well, I don't have any original content. And I think that they are thinking it needs to be a really long post. It could be 300 words. 300 words is very easy. We did those like once a week in 8th grade. Remember, 5-paragraph essay? So I feel like if we could help our clients. This morning I was on a consult and I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you once a month to schedule 1 hour in your calendar to write a blog post. And I want you to treat it like a client meeting. Because when the bottom line is this, Jason, no one can care about your business more than you do. Not me, not you, not the web developer, not your clients. It's your business. You started it for a reason. So, do that. But it's us who have to take the fear out of that for our clients, especially if we have maintenance contracts and we have them ongoing. We want them to do that so that the website is successful, so they understand the value of it, so they know that people come because of it.
Right.
In fact, the client I talked to today, she said, well, I saw that you were speaking at WordCamp Seattle, and I've been following you ever since. And then you said you had time on Twitter, and so I called you, right?
Huh.
So
that's cool.
Like, because we're just, my content isn't that much different from my friends. If you read Carol Steven, Robert Nessenbaum, I'm almost the same as what they're saying. I have a different spin. I have my own way of saying things. That's what makes it original. It's funny because I did this blog post that content is like a meatloaf or something. So my mom, just to make it a little more like original content, is like a meatloaf. So I forgot. Maybe that's not the exact title, but my mom makes this cake for my stepdad for his birthday every year. It's a meatloaf cake. So it's a meatloaf shaped like a cake. The frosting is mashed potatoes. She puts peas all around, carrots, makes a rose out of carrots. It's freaking awesome, right? And writes happy birthday with the ketchup because he doesn't like cake, but he likes meatloaf. So essentially, if you look for a meatloaf recipe, it is the same. The meatloaf is meatloaf. It's meat. It's ground meat, ground beef, whatever, ground any kind of meat that you want. It's an egg. It's some kind of breadcrumbs, and it's some kind of sauce, like usually mustard, powder, and salt and pepper. Okay, that's what a meatloaf is. So why are there so many meatloaf recipes?
Right? There's many ways to make it, right?
So there's millions of cookbooks. There's probably thousands of meatloaf recipes, but they're all different because everybody has their own way of doing it. So it's because sometimes people say, well, I don't have a new take on this subject. Who has a new take on meatloaf? Nobody.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody has it. So you use Irish steel oats instead of breadcrumbs. So you use mustard powder instead of barbecue sauce. But it's still an egg, a starch, and meat. That's never going to change. That's super basic. So every time you have these clients that they think they don't have anything to say, I like to say, what do you find yourself repeating every time you talk to a client? That's what you start writing about, right? Yeah. So I would love to talk about the canonical link.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it. What I understand is, so canon from the Bible, like it's like they decided, okay, they had this like meeting, and they're like, okay, this is the Bible. Like we're canonizing it. We're done. This is it. It's done. Like in a film industry, it's in the can. We're done. We're not changing it. We're not. So I assume that's where they got the canonical.
Yeah, it's and the idea is that you're trying to find what is the origin content that you want to point to tell it, hey, just so you know, like Yost's example on their website, and you can look at the link in the show notes. Yost's example on here was like if they had like example.com/WordPress/SEO-plugin versus example.com/WordPress/plugins/SEO. So you figure out which one of those is going to be the one that you want it to be the canonical, and then you would assign the rel-canonical tag. It's a link tag in the head of the the site, and just say, hey, go over here and make sure that, just so you know, this is the one that you should be looking at. And this type of this type of thing exists to allow you to repeat yourself a few times and make sure that you're, always going back to the original content. There's also something that's very similar to this that allows you to do it if you're translating the content. I can't remember what that one's called, but there's a similar type of link tag that you can do that if the content is the same, but it's just been translated then into different languages, then you're able to tell it, hey, just so you know, if you're looking for this is the link. And so you can look that up. Yost's website has some information about that as well. So it's just good to be able to tell it, no matter what, go to this thing because this particular post is the one that is the original, and I want you to reference that.
Right.
It also makes it so that if you're using any type of query strings after, so a question mark and then something after it, that you can define that the the original content is the one without the question marks. So that way you're able to really make sure that people are able to find that content, and that Google's going to be able to look at and say, oh, this is the canonical. This is the one I want to look at, and I want to actually make sure we link to.
Right. Not to make this a Yoast show, but recently Mariki wrote about keyword cannibalization. Meaning you have various blog posts or articles that can rank for the same search query. And she talks about, and if you put that link in the show notes, she talks about how you can do your own audit to make sure that you're ranking for the things you want to rank, right? Mm-hmm. So it is pretty tricky because you can control what's on your site. But if you subscribe to a templated blog service that automatically does this for you, then you're kind of in a weird situation. So right. I kind of hope that none of our peers are doing this as a business, but also it's a good way to maybe pitch business. Like, to me, I'd like to see somebody jump in that space and just take over. Because what happens is you have people that are overworked in a niche, right? In whatever their industry they're in. And then they go, well, what are you using? And they're like, well, I'm using this. Okay, well, that's great. So that's fine. So basically our biggest referral source is Yelp. We're getting 4 minutes time on site average from Yelp, which is great. It makes sense for a travel agency. Mm-hmm. But we're not getting it from, we're not getting a whole lot of query-based search.
Right. Traffic. And that's because the one that's outranking you is the one that got to got indexed first, as far as we're thinking.
When you syndicate it and you push it out like that, then it's a race of the robots.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if you, let's say, for instance, you were able to get the keys of the kingdom and you were able to get in there and make changes to that content, and you're just going to turn off this indicator and you say, okay, I'm going to now take over this content. You can do that, but what you're really going to have to do is rework all of that content, because you're going to still have inbound links that are going to be going to it. If you're going to rename the slug or do any of those types of redirects or anything to kind of get yourself out of that mess, that's going to be an interesting kind of thing. That's where you go back into that, the canonical type piece, if you want to start using that as a way to kind of, drive that traffic a certain way. The other piece is that, if you're going to rewrite all that content, Google loves when you rewrite content. Google loves when you change content on a particular page. And most blog posts don't ever get changed. You write your blog post, you hit save, and you're done. And if you set up your WordPress right, you'll be able to tell Google every single time you update the page that there was a modification, and here's the date in which it was modified. And that the time and date, or the date on the top of the page, would actually show the modification date versus the date that it was originally posted. So that way you're seeing, you'll start to see that things have actually changed on the site. And then when Google, or even just somebody who just came by your website, will look and go, oh, this is new content. Because any of these other sites that we're looking at that are syndicated, none of them actually put a date on there. Because if they put a date on it, they're saying like, this is an actual time and date in which this was written. And it could have been 6 years ago. It could have been 3 years ago. They could be talking about a country that doesn't exist anymore, that they're trying to send, travel, send their
or if they post something about Hawaii, and right now there's a 5-level category, 5-category hurricane heading to the Big Island.
Yeah,
like,
which means that you should probably really think about this content when you're putting it on the site too. Like, do you have a bunch of Hawaii stuff on there? Should you maybe come up with a way that puts a banner on the top that says, Hawaii is probably not the best place to go to right now. Maybe you should do this instead, or something like that.
Or this is why you buy travel insurance. Right. Actually, that's a good idea.
And here's our blog post about travel insurance. Go check that out.
Actually, I'm going to write that down.
That's an awesome one. Yeah.
But one of the things I did was I went into the analytics looking for the queries, and we did get some for island hopping in French Polynesia, and of course this is syndicated. So I thought, well, I could just write another article.
Yeah.
Because we're a Tahiti specialist. So the thing is like, it goes to whether you're doing it to yourself, because you're posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, you're publishing a lot of different places, or whether you're syndicating your own, because for a long time I used to syndicate my content to business to community, and then they would syndicate it to Yahoo Small Business, MSN. A lot of people in our industry syndicate to Forbes.com, entrepreneur.com. So whether we're syndicating to the world or syndication is something we're buying as a service, it's like content as a service. You got to really supplement that and think about your strategy. And I like how when we have this show, Jason, we talk about the human strategy and the technical strategy, because that's really what marketing is. Like, yeah, I know that you think that you're not a marketer, but you have the technical strategy that the human strategist needs, right? Because we're trying. If I would not be able to, if I just went in there and started changing stuff, I would probably make it worse, right? That's why you need somebody who understands technical SEO, not just what people are looking, because you can't just start changing slugs.
You can't just start changing slugs.
And that's not the snail without a shell either, right?
Right, yeah. After your .com/something. Yes, it's the actual page that somebody's going to. Man, we knocked out 30 minutes. Good job, Bridget. You know, 28 of that was you talking, and then the other part was me going, yep.
Well, what I'd really like, Jason, is I'd really love for our audience to comment somewhere.
Yeah,
YouTube,
we're
the
all over the place.
The group. I want to know what you're encountering. I want to know how we can help each other out, because essentially this is more, to me, this is more than a show. It's a community. So if we're not like referring to each other like, oh, you need a writer, I can tell you 5 technical writers right now, right? And maybe we can pair up and help each other out. Maybe we can go after this business. Maybe this is a strategy of us getting business. Like you look at this, you go, hey, I noticed this is happening. I'd really love to give you a proposal to help you rank better. And this is why. I mean, maybe that's a way that we can make our own business come to us, or in a more passive way, write about it on our own blogs about why you do want custom websites, not just a template, not a service, and not syndicated content, because essentially you're paying to be buried by the company's writing.
Yep. If you like this content, go down the bottom of this page, whatever page it is that you're on, and leave us a comment. And if you want to tell us something and leave a comment, but you don't want to leave it in a public sense, on our Facebook group, if you go look on Facebook for WPblab, it's the only thing that's out there that's for WPblab. We have a Facebook group. Feel free to join that Facebook group. We'll let you in. And then at that point, you'll be able to ask your, put whatever type of question, comment, suggestion, whatever you like regarding this particular topic. It keeps it in more of a secured environment. Secured. It's on Facebook, but but you're not. It's not going to be out there. That's going to be ranking on Google or anything like that, and looking for your name and finding it or something. So. That's about it. Go over to our website at WPwatercooler.com. Click on the links there to subscribe. If you want to subscribe, it's WPwatercooler.com/subscribe. And if you're looking to sponsor this particular show or any of the shows on our network, you can go over to WPwatercooler.com/sponsor, where you can learn how to sponsor the show. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.